To a new lens. Today is a very special episode. I am joined by an old friend. Uh, oh, I should have asked how you want to go. Like, how do you want to be introduced?
Oh, me.
Just you, him.
It's me. Yeah,
It's
boy.
him,
Jon Russo's fine.
Jon Russo. All right,
Yeah.
perfect. Yeah. Do you want to? Well, I guess I should ask. When we were going through high school, did you ever think you were going to be director of an FFA program?
I remember vividly back in the day, we were strolling down the hallway with the good doctor himself. And one of us, I can't remember if it was me or you, we said one of us was going to be director there one day.
Wow.
And who would have thought?
Yeah, yeah. Out of the two of us, I think you definitely had more of a passion for it. I was definitely in the program. I love that program
Yeah.
to death for sure. It was, I mean, huge in development, and I think a lot of people who never experienced it don't know what they're missing out on.
Yeah, and they never will.
They
You know?
never will. Yeah, it's definitely something special, right? Largest youth leadership run organization in the country. Um, Something that I think a lot of people can really attribute to their leadership skills. Um, but man, it happened so fast.
It did. Yeah, I mean, high school flew by.
High school
I
flew
mean,
by.
you and I, we certainly had a lot of fun.
Duh. Yeah, we yes we did. I mean, in and
Yeah,
out of the classroom, just hanging around,
absolutely.
just the wildest teachers for sure.
Definitely.
Being in like an urban setting has been I mean, good, right? It's something
Yeah,
unique. It's already such a unique program, and we were such a black sheep when it came to the actual process that these high schoolers are taking through. Like most of them are more still learning traditional farming practices, where we really got to see, I don't know, sort of like modern take on like industrialized agriculture, essentially, right? Like where
yeah,
we can grow things in places that are full of concrete and PVC.
absolutely. And I mean, we always said, we're not just cows and plows anymore. I mean, yes, for the organization as a whole, but, our school in particular, Stamford, Connecticut, there were no, well, a handful of farms kicking around, but,
Oh
for
yeah.
the vast majority of us, we'd never pet a cow before or said hi to a sheep.
Oh yeah. I don't even can't remember the last time I seen a sheep.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, what was your what did you go for college? Like what? How did you get a pathway to this? Like where did you start?
So, I mean, starting off, of course, in the high school program, right? It was sophomore year. I decided for sure that I wanted to teach. After that, I went to my teachers, all of our amazing teachers at the time. I went to every one of them and I said, hey, if you were to skin this cat again, how would you do it? And the path led to UConn. That was the school I wanted to go to. That's the school I ended up at. I did my undergraduate degree, my Bachelor of Science in Ag and Natural Resources and Sustainable Plant and Soil Systems. And we got a couple of minors in there too. But the goal
Wow.
was to give me a general ag degree so that I got a taste of everything that I could or would be teaching. Because here in
Mm,
Connecticut, when we're certified ag, we're certified ag, not plant or animal or what have you. And then double majoring that with the plant science degree over there. That gave me the specialization I needed in my field, which is plants.
mm.
Um, After that, I went on to get my master's in curriculum and instruction through UConn as well, through their teacher. Mm, oh gosh, it's TCPCG, Teacher Certification Program for mm, post college graduates. I think that's what the acronym is. We love our acronyms in education. Um, but yeah, that was an accelerated master's course with the goal of taking folks that have their bachelor's degree and turning them into teachers real quick.
Right. Definitely something that I considered at one point for
Yeah.
sure. I don't know, different route, right? I
Yeah,
definitely preferred like research, science, conservation, being out in the
yeah,
field. Um, Maybe one day owning my own like private research institution,
for
right?
sure.
Yeah, to try to bring science back to something that we can trust. Let's say.
Yeah, definitely. And there's plenty of, privately funded and, run orgs that kicking around that do plenty of good research and contribute to the community.
Yeah, there's great nonprofits out there,
Definitely.
and a lot of great private benefactors who love animals and plants and will be more than happy to fund a research project if they are able to actually see the good work that these organizations are doing.
Thank goodness for those private benefactors.
Yeah, thank goodness. We
Yeah,
need them like so badly because otherwise we are stuck with, the corporate uh corporate science, let's call it, right?
sure.
Like I feel like one of the biggest examples would be like Coca-Cola and the sugar industry
Oh,
and
sure.
like
Yeah,
how they've demonized fat and made everything these fat-free products and just
yeah,
added more sugar to it when sugar has been the issue this whole time.
sure.
Um, how was your FFA then recently? The one that you were just at?
Oh, yeah. So we just came back from Colt. That's the chapter officer leadership training. For the kids, they get to go off and they get to go and do some individualized training per their positions. But as teacher folk, we go off to the side and we get down to business. We only get everybody into the same room so many times in a given year, so it's good to catch up with everybody, right? Swap practice, and of course talk about statewide business, whatever that may be. Which competitions are being held which day, who's running which competitions. I'm the superintendent for one contest, the agricultural communications contest.
Oh,
So all that stuff gets formally figured out and voted on. Um, we also have our individual groups. We split up by practice. So I hang out with the plant science folks. We get together and we say, hey, what are we doing together as plant science people? For the past couple of years, we actually did displays at the Hartford Flower Show together. The first year we did it, we did a Disney princess themed display. So we all put together mannequins with dresses on them, and then we dressed them up with flowers like different Disney princesses.
wow.
My kids chose Mulan because there was a sword that was involved, so they were interested
Mm.
in that. And we made that entirely out of live flowers. It was
Wow.
gorgeous, and of course, a great opportunity to engage with the community. And then last year, we did a Lord of the Rings themed display.
Ooh,
So a couple of the other schools slapped together a Hobbit hole landscape, including a hobbit hole that you could
very
actually
cool.
open up the door of and that kind of thing.
Oh,
And my kids, they were interested in making some of the arms and armaments, so we made a couple of helmets, a sword, and a shield. Yes, there's a theme here.
yeah. I was gonna say, leave it to your kids to
Yeah,
just be into the weaponry.
yeah, no, they had a lot of fun with it. They were like, I want to do that, and I'm like, okay, let's do it. Um, and again, like super great opportunity to engage with the community, recruit for our programs, and kind of spread the good word of what we do. Um,
Yeah, I mean, it must
yeah,
be crazy being on the other side
it
because
is.
I mean, you and I were both at those conferences as students
Yeah,
and chapter officers,
yeah,
and then you going on to be a state officer as well.
yeah.
So you are pretty famous in the community for
I am.
sure. You are.
I
Wow,
am.
so
No.
humble.
No, we made our way around. We said hi to a lot of people and did a lot of good things. You and I
Yeah.
both. Yeah.
Hey, I mean, right? We try. We had good
Yeah.
mentors for sure.
For sure. Yeah, no,
Um,
couldn't have done it without the support of all our teachers.
Yeah,
And
absolutely,
yeah,
right? And I mean, what a great opportunity once again to have a program where you can like really get to know the people who are teaching you.
absolutely. And we always knew that there was something special about agriculture. We all got to know each other in, a very deep way. But really, it's just because of the time we spend together. If we had to
Mm.
really boil it down, as an agriculture teacher, I can have a kid for 4 years straight. And in that time, we get to see them from 13 to 17 or 18, and we can see where their
Yeah.
career is going, where their passions have gone. we get the full picture, and we can kind of guide them accordingly.
Yeah, I mean, it's such an important step to you're really preparing them for that independence, right? Getting them
Yeah,
out into the real world, whether it's starting their own business straight out of high school, which a
yeah,
lot of ag people
they
do, and they
do.
just make a ton of money straight away.
Yeah,
Or going the education route and
yeah,
going further into academia.
yeah. And
Um,
fun fact about agriculture students in academia. I found this out earlier today, actually. Um, Roughly the percent of students in Connecticut that finish their college degree in 5 years is somewhere between 60 and 65%.
hmm.
For agriculture students, it's 80%. Yeah.
Wow. Oh
And you know
man.
what? I credit it with, the amount of career exploration that our kids do going into it. If they want to go to college, we tell them, okay, look into the careers that are affiliated with that degree. Is this where you want to be going? Is this the money you want to be making?
Yeah, it's
Right?
huge.
Is
Yeah.
this the student loan payment that you want to bear eventually one
Mm,
day? How are you going to make this work? And we have those hard conversations before they start filling out those applications.
yeah. Yeah, I chose a very hard path. I
Didn't
said,
we all?
yeah, I was like, there's no pay. They're gonna test the shit out of me,
Yeah,
but it's okay. I'll bear it. I'll pay off these student
of
loans.
course.
Get that
Yeah,
60K a year average,
yeah.
which is progressively worse every year.
As inflation comes and the salary doesn't inflate,
Yes,
yes.
as the salary does not inflate.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what was being a state officer like?
Oh wow, that's going back a little bit. So I was a state officer from 2016 to 2018, first serving as the District 2 president. So that was all of us in Fairfield County, right? Running some of the ship there. And then I went on to be state reporter. Um, the cool thing about being a state officer is, the amount of people you get to meet and the amount of formal training that you get. There's
Mm,
several different training camps that they put us through for public speaking, writing and executing workshops and that kind of thing, teamwork and other leadership skills. Things that the FFA really champions itself on: premier leadership, personal growth, and career success.
mm,
And the question always becomes, how do we get those things for our students, right? And as state officers, we got to be part of that process, at least through the FFA, right? We were writing these workshops, we were planning these events, and of course executing them. And I had a really good time meeting people from all across the state, learning their experiences, learning their lives. Because down here in Fairfield County, we're city slickers, right?
yeah.
And up there in the other corners of the state, like the quiet corner in the northeast, or our friends over in the northwest, it's rural. It gets very rural in Connecticut, and people don't realize that.
Oh yeah. If
Yeah,
if you've never been to like Kent, Connecticut,
yeah,
or like Killingly,
yep. Oh,
uh,
Killingly's out there too.
yeah,
Yeah,
Killingly's out
yeah,
there. Like right? It's like a whole. I mean, geographically, it's like more than half the state
yeah. It
is
is.
like that.
Yeah, and it's around. But here
Yeah,
in the city, we just have our very city centric perspective.
yeah,
And
or large
being
population
yeah,
centers.
and being a state officer really, opened my mind to that, because my teammates were from these rural corners of the state,
Mm.
and I got to know them very well. So yeah, I'm forever grateful for that experience, that training, and of course those friendships. Because I was hanging out with some of them today at this teacher thing, because of course a handful of them became ag teachers too.
Oh yeah, yeah, right. That's not surprising.
Yeah,
And I'm sure it's cool, man. It's cool to like see these people over the years. Like, what a good
absolutely.
way to stay in touch too.
Yeah. And, I mean, it's one of those things about growing up that I've learned, ripe old age of 25.
Oh God,
It's, you get
oh
to,
no.
see people from, again, 13 to, adulthood,
Sure.
and that's the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, man. Oh, dude, don't even start. I remember I remember you freshman year.
Yeah.
Like it's so different, but like I mean so similar
Yeah.
still. It's just kind of crazy. It really is crazy, and it has been so long
Yeah.
since I last saw you.
I know it is crazy how time gets away from us, but also those times that we are together, it's we're in it.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's been very neat.
Yeah, it's been cool. It's cool to see, just kind of watching you, just lurking your Facebook and shit.
As one does,
Yeah,
right?
as one
It's how
does.
man, you can only keep up with so many people,
Yeah,
so like closely.
yeah,
Hey, thank goodness for social media.
yeah. Right. Yeah, I could just keep you tagged in,
Yeah.
just keep you updated.
hmm
Um, so what's UConn like?
UConn. I mean, it was a very unique mix because I was in UConn, which of course was the big school, right? We
Yeah,
had
huge.
like 30,000 people on campus, if I'm not mistaken. Enormous, right?
Yeah.
Um, but the College of Ag was its own little corner.
Oh, what?
Yeah, so most of those kids weren't enrolled in the College of Ag. UConn is a land grant university. It wouldn't be there without the College of Ag.
Oh,
It is our land grant university. Um, but within the College of Ag, I got to really know my professors. I got to know my classmates, and I had a great time making those connections and learning from those people in such a way. Because I had all of the big university resources, all of the big university grants and
mm.
activities, but I got that small college experience within the College of Ag. You know,
Oh, that's so cool.
yeah, because I didn't care about my gen eds,
Oh,
whatever,
sure. Yeah, the
my
gen eds are
chemistry class,
terrible.
my
Yeah.
stats class, whatever. I mean, yes, it's important to knock those things out. But the College of Ag is really where, I cut my teeth and grew into a professional.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if it was like that for you. I know for Roger Williams, at least the program I was in, like it was very cutthroat and they
Yeah,
like made sure that like your first year especially was like, you know, get rid of the weak links, right? Like make
yeah,
it extra hard in your chemistry and stuff to make sure that
yeah,
if you want to be in science that you really want to be there.
yeah. That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I didn't get a ton of that attitude. I did get it in one of my courses. Funny enough, UConn was the first university in the nation to offer a course on cannabis cultivation.
Mm.
And my professor at the time, he front loaded a lot of hard plant science content into
Oh,
that course. It was the largest class that the university ran at the time. It was like
wow.
400 students, but slowly but surely, we lost like 100 of them. Yeah,
Whoa.
easily, because we front loaded the hard
Mm.
plant science content to weed out those weak links. It's
Yeah.
not just about weed, guys. This is cultivation. This is care.
Yeah, this
This
is
is plant
real
disease.
plant
This is
science.
plant
Yeah.
science. And the folks that just toked, they thought they knew better. But man, it's plants.
Plants,
You
dude.
have to look at
Yeah.
it as plant science.
Mm.
Yeah. So that was the only real time that I saw too much of that. But I totally get wanting to weed them out at the beginning because you know what, my sister, she did her degree in environmental science, and she got to the end and then she
Mm.
got hung up on orgo.
Oh yeah, that's
Man, you got to
yep.
knock that out early so that if you do get hung up, you can push past it.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah, I feel like most people end up getting stuck in their chemistry classes or
sure.
like calculus.
Yeah,
That's kind of those are definitely some of the deciding classes for
yeah.
sure.
And you know what, if you take them freshman year, you can make it or not make it, right, and
Yeah,
then go from there.
do it before you drink too much.
Yeah. For sure. Although
Yeah.
I didn't do a ton of that. I was dedicated pizza guy. Shout out to my friends at Sergeant Pepperoni. Rest in peace. That was the pizza shop on campus.
Oh
They actually closed a couple of years ago, but
no!
I worked for them for a whole year.
Wow.
Working the phones, working the prep counter. It was a lot of fun.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
That's cool. You didn't have like a science related job on campus?
No, I didn't. I did actually apply for a research job within the College of Ag, but it just didn't mesh with my schedule.
Oh,
Yeah, it was really unfortunate.
yeah,
Yeah,
that is unfortunate.
yeah,
When did you get into plants, man? I don't know. I know in high school, like
yeah.
I feel like you were still figuring it out, maybe.
I was still kind of growing into it, but plants were an ever present part of my upbringing. Growing up here in Norwalk, we don't have like a ton of farmy kind of things going on, but we do have a lot of folks with backyard gardens, and that's what a lot
Mm.
of urban agriculture looks like. So that's what I grew up with. I really have my grandmother to credit with this, but she taught me how to grow plants growing up. We always had a garden in the backyard, and my first garden, quote unquote, was a pot with a tomato that I was solely responsible for.
Sweet.
Yeah, and growing up, that just got bigger and bigger. Eventually, the passion for different things kind of came into the mix. I had a good friend at the time that introduced me to aquaculture in middle school. She had a goldfish tank, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever. And I was like, I want to give that a swing. So I did that. I discovered hydroponic growing, which is the growing of plants without soil, through a YouTube video. I just wanted to learn about plant propagation, making more plants, and I stumbled across it. I thought it was the coolest thing because I got to build something and grow. So it's two of my passions. I'm bringing them together. And then eventually, it just kind of spiraled into learning more and more about the rest of the industry because everything's connected in one way or the other. Plants feed animals and vice versa, and they all feed us. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we ultimately feed the plants in the end.
Indeed, we do. We
We
do.
do.
I told, it's funny, I was talking to my grandmother the other day about funerary arrangements, and I was like, I want to get buried because I want to return to the soil and become nutrition. It was Neil deGrasse Tyson that said this in an interview, but he said, don't cremate me because then all of the energy just goes into the atmosphere and then outwards.
Oh, sure.
And I'm like, wow, that's so valid. Like, we got to complete the nutrient cycle. Like, back to the dirt, fam.
Yeah, it's true. I've been seeing like live coffins are like a thing now where like they're biodegradable and just turn into fertilizer basically.
Yeah, give me like a mycelium pod.
Yeah, give me a mycelium pod. Yeah. Make me part of the mycelium network.
Of course.
I'll talk to trees and stuff.
Sounds pretty good.
Yeah, it sounds cool. Sounds better than the alternative.
Definitely.
The death at sea sounds kind of bad.
I try not to do that.
Yeah, try not to do that.
Yeah.
I think there's like a legend that's like sailors who die at sea like come back as like seagulls or like seabirds. So like you're not supposed to like fucking kick a seagull or whatever because they're the souls of lost sailors.
I've never heard that, but I'll look at seagulls a little bit differently. To be fair, I used to sit at Overton's and feed them French fries. So
nice. Yeah, that's right up there. Yeah, they would come right up to you, man. They really do. They are just so courageous.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
well, it's because they're people.
They're sailors.
Yeah,
they're very outgoing people.
Yes,
and they're very hungry all the time, as a sailor would be.
Yes, and like very federally protected. I think too.
Very federally protected.
Yeah.
Where do you think you're gonna go, man? I mean, you hit director.
I know.
Now what?
So now what, right? This is the career trajectory, and I've had conversations with various mentors about this, right? You become a teacher, you become a department head, and then what?
And then
what? And for me, I'm not a department head. I'm actually technically a program coordinator, right? It's the nuts and bolts, the insides and outsides of that program. It's different than being, say, an English or a science department head. I've got a budget to balance. I've got recruiting to do. I've got a community to connect with, right? There's just so much to the job that fulfills me on the day to day. I always saw that as the end game. So,
wow.
I joked, out of college, I got the dream gig, which is teaching at my home school. It's like, I guess I could die happy now, right? Well, what's next?
I mean, hey, if you're content with it, right, do that for the next 40, 50 years.
Yeah.
Dedicate your life to it, and I'm sure you can, right, do cool side shit along the way, right?
Absolutely.
Like that's the hope, right? Develop a program that like leaves a lasting legacy. I'm sure you can, at some point, even if you wanted to, like run like experiments, like your own experiments with the kids, and like publish papers, and even have some of the high school kids listed on those papers.
Yes, and we've talked about that too. It would be very cool to do formal research coming out of our high school.
Yeah, it'd be really cool.
Yeah, and that's one of those things, we can work up to. So the cool thing about this position and the cool thing about the agri-science programs in Connecticut is we have, the sky's the limit, right? We can take it pretty darn far before we hit any any sort of real caps on our capabilities. It's just a matter of hours in the day.
Mm.
Which is not too many, but we make it work.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the day goes quick for
It
sure,
does.
and right, ag unfortunately is not the whole school day. If you
Yes.
could have those kids all day,
Yeah.
I mean, what a difference that would make for sure.
Absolutely. If I could have, the same group of kids from the beginning of school to the end of school, I'd imagine we'd get a lot done.
Yeah, the
Um,
fact that they're there for like 2 periods max usually is
yeah,
tough.
it is. And the cool thing is so the way that we're incorporated in Connecticut, we're a year-round program, so we do have to stay over the summers. And during the summers, we do have kids come in and they hang out with us for the whole day, and we get a
Oh
ton of work
man.
done. Those kids they get a little more out of their agricultural education because they've got the time for it. So we'll just be in there cranking away in the greenhouse, building something, transplanting things, doing all sorts of other fun activities and kind of making the dream work. Because inevitably, it's investment into the grass under their own feet. I always tell them, like, hey, what can we do to improve? What can we do to make our situation here better, more
Mm.
efficient or effective, right? Um, and they're the think tank. I'm only one brain, but I normally have 15 other ones in a room with me that I can kind of pull on.
Yeah, I mean, I just remember everybody who's there is so passionate for it,
Yeah,
and I mean, you guys do a good job vetting, which you have to. You got to
yeah,
make sure that the people who like agriculture, right, are not just in it for the wrong reasons.
for
Who,
sure.
right, people who just come because their friends are applying, that kind of
Yeah.
thing.
No, and I mean that's the major qualifier is, when I'm sitting in an interview with a kid, the question is, okay, what have you done? Do you love it?
Mm.
Right? Do you want to do more? And
Yeah.
how can I facilitate that? Right? It's the qualifier is passion for agriculture.
Mm.
It is one of the last programs within the state where we do get to interview and choose the kids that attend our program, unlike the magnet and charter programs, which are all lottery based systems.
Oh
And we wouldn't,
man.
yeah. And you know what? We wouldn't want to go to something like that because our students would be of they wouldn't qualify. I
Yeah.
don't want a kid that's not genuinely interested in agriculture because they're not going to take advantage of what's in front of them. You know,
Yeah, yeah, you're giving knowledge to somebody who is gonna sit there for 4 years, just kind of, put in half-assed work the
yeah,
whole time, and then just not pursue it in the future, and then all of a sudden, all that the time and resources that you put into somebody who could have been passionate was wasted on somebody who never even cared in the first
no, for
place.
sure. And, it's an investment, right? So, it's an investment of my time and energy, because I put a lot of elbow grease into this stuff,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
the program has real work involved.
it does. Yeah.
Like, I mean, right, you on the coordination side, but I mean, it's great, right? You've seen it on every single angle. The fact that you were a
Yeah.
student going through it, and like, I was just imagining like the interview process back in high school, like filling out that form that they sent us. Like,
Yeah.
I remember like basically every single question, I was going over all the lines. Like, I had
Yeah.
way too much to say because I really wanted to
Yeah.
go.
Yeah, in the essay portion, we only give a page to write on, but oftentimes kids make it to the back page.
Yeah, I mean that's what you're looking for, right? It's
Yeah,
and if a lot of kids are doing that, it's one of those things where it's like, hey, this is kind of an unwritten like qualifier. It's like if you're not passionate enough to where you have so much to say where you're like,
yeah,
I need more space than what is given to me, like
sure.
how passionate are you really?
Yeah. And, also that's something I look for in the interviews, right? I ask them, what is it that drew you to our program? And, sometimes we'll get I like animals, and I'm like, okay, and then, right?
Yeah.
And then give me more,
Yeah, give me
right?
more.
What have you done? What specifically are you passionate about? What do you want to learn more about? What do you want to do with it?
Yeah, do you know what you want to do with
Yeah,
animals already?
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, do you just like animals and want to pet
Because, like,
animals?
guess what? We all
Yeah.
like animals.
Yeah.
Newsflash. Like,
Yeah.
everybody likes dogs. Everybody likes petting dogs. That's not news to me,
Yeah,
right?
cool.
Yeah, tell me that you just immigrated from, a foreign country where you were raised on your grandmother's farm
Mm.
and, you milked cows for a week right? Or something like that. Or, you know, maybe it is a dog story, but maybe tell me about the time that you trained your dog, right? All
Oh,
on your own or
sure.
something like
Yeah.
that. Or heck, even myself as an example, when I was in elementary and middle school, I volunteered for a dog rescue with my family. I had some real formative experiences doing that,
Wow.
working as a professional, trying to get these dogs, safely from A to B, cleaning up after them, talking to people that were looking to adopt and
Mm.
all that, fostering dogs.
Yeah. I mean, you could even
Yeah,
just be a dog walker and
yeah,
just do that
for
as like a
sure.
young person. Like
Yeah,
that's just anything, right? That where it's like you're consistently showing up on a daily
yeah,
basis or a semi-daily basis to take care of animals or plants
yeah,
or
for
whatever you're
sure.
passionate about.
Yeah,
Um, I remember my parents did not want me to go to that school.
yeah,
They told my grandparents when I was going to the open house for the first time, they were like, "Tell him as much as you can to like get him to not go there."
yeah,
And we walked in, and like right away, they were just like taken aback by
mm,
the whole program and just the facilities, how like intricate like the aquaculture labs were and like the small animal
yeah,
labs and just like the way that the teachers like treated us and how hard all the kids were working and stuff.
hmm,
So like my grandparents like told me after the fact that I got accepted, they were like, yeah, like we were going to try and make it to like that you shouldn't be here, but we were just so impressed that it was like you have to
yeah.
go.
No,
So
definitely. And my grandparents had parents and grandparents, right, had a similar kind of view on it. They pulled up my grandparents pulled up news articles where teachers and students were getting beaten and that kind of thing. Teacher gets sent to the hospital or what have you. Like, oh, this is a terrible place to be. Compared to our public high school here.
I mean,
And
not much better, but
right.
whatever,
But I handed the application to my mom, and she said, "So what? You're going to be a farmer now?" And I told her, "Yeah, maybe
right? Yeah, maybe.
sign it." Um, and that was one of the first times, and I was 12, 13 years old at the time. It was the first time that I ever had a conviction about anything in any
Wow.
meaningful way.
Mm,
It was me making a decision for myself. So while for a while I resented my mom for taking that angle, at the same time I needed a little bit of that resistance to push through. It's one of those growing pains that was kind of important to fabricate.
mm.
um, so yeah, I get it. And we get a lot of that too. We get parents that are asking like, hey, what's their career trajectory for our kids? Are they going to be
Yeah,
farmers?
yeah.
This is Fairfield County. All of them want to see their kids go off to college, get their
Yep.
degrees and
Get
stuff.
into
You know,
finance or tech or
yeah, and I'm
own their
like,
own
look,
business.
if you want
Yeah.
to be in finance or tech, that's fine, right? I'm just concerned with, if the kid is interested in agriculture,
Mm,
wherever they end up afterwards. It's nice if they
yeah.
hang out in the industry, right? Hey, maybe they end up doing environmental law or
Sure.
agricultural law because
Yeah, you can do a lot of
I know
cool
a couple
stuff.
of
Yeah.
agricultural lawyers. There's wiggle room there.
Mm.
But yeah, a lot of them do have that cookie cutter corporate vision for their kids.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
I mean, you
yeah,
could just be a policymaker who's like pro-environmental and
yeah,
stuff, and like get your
sure.
start in the FFA and like 4-H and things
Yeah,
like that.
and we have plenty of leaders that are, retired FFA members.
Yeah,
My
that's the hope, right? They're
yeah,
trying to breed leaders.
absolutely, and
Like,
my
it's such a good
yeah,
program, man.
and my favorite example, of course, being our dear departed Jimmy Carter.
Mm.
The first and last FFA member to become president of the United States.
Wow.
While his presidency itself was contentious, nobody could deny that he was a genuine person and
Mm.
a good leader, in his own right, and somebody that was committed to community. All of the work he did with Habitat for Humanity to start, because we, as part of our operation, of course, we put an emphasis on community service. A lot of our kids do take on volunteer-based projects, but as a school, we try to go out of our way to reach out to the community. We just did a beach cleanup event with you guys.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, right over here in Vets Park. So that's
Oh
just an
yeah.
example of kind of how that goes down.
Uh, yeah. Do you want to go into the like three circle thing just real quick? I know there's gonna be way too much to talk about.
There's too much to talk about. This could be, 6 hours of content here.
Yeah.
So in agricultural education, in the United States, we are modeled off of what we call the three circle model: FFA, which is Future Farmers of America; SAE, which is supervised agricultural experience. These are out of class projects that the kids take on independently. And then lastly, we have the classroom. And where agricultural education excels is at the intersection of these points. There's a lot of programs out there that cover a lot of these different things: work-based learning, volunteering, community service, leadership development, classroom instruction, of course, on its own, right? But there are no other programs like us that merge all three of them, and in the specific context of agriculture. Yeah, it's a unique thing, and there's a reason why it's dynamite.
Yeah, I mean, it's been around for so long.
Yeah.
It stands the test of time.
Yep.
Showed up in Napoleon Dynamite, even.
Yes, it
which
did.
is insane.
Yeah, I forget which FFA chapter it was that they featured, but yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh, I got to rewatch that.
I know.
But yeah, here in the United States, at least formally, agricultural education has existed since the signing of the Smith-Hughes Act in 1917. So we've got over 100 years of the Smith-Hughes Act, and then we're coming up on the 100th anniversary of the National FFA organization.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, 1928 was
man.
founding, so 2028 is going to be a century for us.
Wow, National Convention that year is going to be crazy.
It's going to be fire, and I am going to be there.
You should. Yeah, you should go.
will
You
be there.
have to go.
I may have to drag you along.
Please do. If I'm allowed to go, I want to go to that because it's been so long. Kentucky was great. I love
Kentucky
going
was
there.
great.
I really want to go to Indianapolis.
We are in Indianapolis nowadays. And another fun fact about National Convention: Indianapolis is the only city that can host the National FFA convention because we are so large.
What?
Yes, between convention center space, the hotels, the other amenities.
Wow.
We had, I believe, over 80,000 members and guests in attendance last year.
Whoa.
There is no other convention center, place, or what have you in the nation that can accommodate what we need.
Oh, sure.
Between convention space and, of course, space for our livestock and that kind of thing for competitions.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yo, there's a lot of space, man.
Look, I'm sure there's plenty of room in the Hartford Convention Center, but there's not enough room for me to park a Clydesdale horse.
Yeah, no. Or like the 2-story tall tractors.
Yeah.
Like,
oh gosh.
Yeah.
Magnificent.
Yeah, they're huge, man. Like, just imagine how much field you can plow.
I can plow a field with this thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
If you could climb it, sure.
Yeah, right. Oh, man. It's amazing. Yeah.
No, that was, I mean, some of the best years, man, for sure.
Absolutely.
Like, and thinking back on it all, it's like, it's unreal, actually.
How much amazing stuff we did.
So happy I didn't do like a normal high school thing.
Yeah.
It would have sucked just to like sit through normal class.
Sure. We were different kids with a particular passion, and this kind of program was made for us.
Yeah.
And it all worked out.
It did all work out. And I'm happy they do the talks to the middle schools and stuff because like I don't think anyone growing up, like parents and kids alike, don't really know that there's other options.
No, not at all. And actually, there is now I don't know if this is a new development, but there is a legal requirement for all middle schools in the state of Connecticut to make them available to our programs for recruiting.
Oh,
yes.
Man.
So per state statute, I have to be allowed over there to give them a recruitment presentation.
No way.
Because it is an option that's available to all students, right? As long as they meet the bar, for entry, and we've got the resources to take them, agricultural education's here.
Wow, that's incredible. I didn't even know that there were middle schools being left out.
Yeah, for sure. It's not that they've been left out; it's that they've intentionally excluded themselves.
Oh,
because again, they come from, say, a higher brow district than where the ag school is, right? And they just don't want to send their kids there.
Yeah, send them to prep school or whatever, right?
And also, whenever a kid goes district to district, and this is an issue that we're dealing with in the legislature now, and hopefully we're going to have a resolution soon. But basically, the money has to follow the kid, right?
Mm.
So say it costs 20 grand to educate a student, right? If I take a student from out of district, say I take a kid from Norwalk, Norwalk's got to cut me a check for the rest of that kid's education. And ideally, right, they'd like to keep that money in district,
Mm.
just for the sake of stability of their numbers, amongst other things, right? So right now, the state's working on, and folks up in Hartford are working on, getting a stopgap grant basically set up so that the state comes in and says, okay, we'll help you guys out with this transition cash
Mm.
until the next school year. Kind of similar to the system that we have in place for like uh, teacher tenure. The reason why tenure exists is because student populations flux, right? And
Mm.
with that, are we going to allow people to lose their jobs over
Ah,
say one kid being one
sure.
kid short or what have you? So it's all things to kind of build stability in the system.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, we could do a whole talk about
Yeah, no,
that.
let's save that for a different time. I think that, I mean, while very important to talk about, that is a little out of the scope for for this
Yeah.
episode.
But anyway, yeah, we recruit at any and every middle school from all the sending towns. I think there's something around 20 middle schools that our program pulls from, because it's the town and then whatever towns are adjacent to the town that hosts that ag school. And there's 21 of us here in Connecticut all across the state.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh wait, do you go across the state potentially to like talk? How far is your range when
Well,
you go
so I
recruiting?
mean, for us, it's just the adjacent towns,
Okay.
right? So
Yeah.
um, it's just our neighbors. But I mean, every single ag school recruits to the towns adjacent
Yeah,
to
they're
it.
all going to be able to
Yeah,
do it now, which is great.
which of course goes into making agricultural education accessible to every middle school student that
Mm.
qualifies.
Yeah, I mean, this would be a terrible loss to, I mean, the country as a whole, to be honest,
Well,
if this
sure.
program was to go under. Like,
Yeah,
if the national FFA ceased to exist, oh man,
we'd be cooked. But
yeah,
thankfully, the National FFA is the only youth organization, I believe, that has a national charter. We are in the U.S. law books or what have you, like here to stay.
wow,
I like I said before, we're coming up on 100 years, and I'll raise my glass to 100 more.
yeah,
We're getting there.
yeah. I think the FFA is going strong. I
Yeah,
think they're pretty well protected for sure, even with
yeah,
all the. I don't know. I mean, to be honest, they're at the cornerstone of so many like like funding
yeah,
and like risks, and political
absolutely.
risks, that
Yeah,
kind of thing, just because it
sure.
is agriculture, education.
Yeah, absolutely. The food supply is a contentious topic. Education is contentious, right? And we exist at the intersection of both.
Yeah,
I mean, funding's always getting put in, yoinked, what have you. Um, but we're chugging along. Yeah.
that's
And
great.
the FFA, I think we broke 1 million members recently
Oh,
nationwide,
nice.
which is larger than many other organizations that are kicking around.
Yes, it
And that's just
is.
active membership. These are
Oh
only
yeah,
high school
so many
students.
alumni.
Yes, millions of alumni
Yeah,
members, which is pretty amazing too.
it is amazing.
Yeah.
Um, all right, so I guess to sort of bring things down, um, what would you say your philosophy is that you keep going professionally and personally, just like keep yourself at such a high standard, right? Like through, I mean, just being a leader, right? Like you've come so far at such a young age and really achieved your dream. Um, and right, and we shouldn't even like sugarcoat it. It was a lot of hard work. Um, and what? How do you instill that into your high schoolers?
Well, I it's a lot of things, but I like to think that I've boiled it down to a very simple philosophy that I kind of stumbled across. I believe that at the crossroads of passion and purpose, we find ourselves and we can find power. Um, it's passion that gets us involved in things, right? I know for a fact that I love this thing, but man, you get burnt out on it sometimes, right? You grind away and you find yourself, trying to pour from an empty cup.
Mm.
But on the back end, we have purpose, we have mission, we have community that can support us and feed that passion once again and keep on chugging along. It is a force multiplier of its own kind. And, I feel like I've found that in agriculture and agricultural education, which is why I've been able to chug away so hard.
That's incredible, man.
It works,
Yeah, it
I think.
works. I think it does too. It is. I mean, just the love and passion. I think I would have to agree with you. Like first and foremost is like the defining factor.
Yeah.
Like if you are not passionate about what you're searching for, you're never gonna find it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And, the purpose, it holds me accountable to my passion.
Mm.
It's I know that I love what I do, right? But the job makes sure that I keep my head in the game and I keep on chugging along.
Yeah, right. You
So
you can't fly too close to the sun. Stay
absolutely.
grounded.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming on my podcast, man.
Oh, of course. Well, anytime. You know.
Is there anything you want to shout out?
No, I think we're good. But again, thank you so much for having me. This is a lot of fun to do.
Yeah, man. It's been too long.
It's been a
Hopefully,
hot minute.
yeah. Hopefully, don't be a stranger for
Oh, of
sure.
course.
Right.
All right.
Um. Yeah, so this has been it. A new lens. We'll catch you next time. All right.